I will catch y'all on the flip side. I don't know the next video, but we gonna do something, bros. And maybe there might be a HuniePop 3. Who knows? Like, hopefully, there's a HuniePop 3.
And your boy can be the voice actor of the main character, bro. Because the voice actor needs to have a fucking voice now. So let me do that. Honey Dad, let me do that, bro.
Yeah, if they happens, then there's gonna be that whole Sonic Fox Skullgirls controversy, and I don't think we want that. But there's others, and I suggest that I think either like the likes of Mental Dashy Games, Markiplier, Simply, or even TC Nick 3 as a following to play the voice for the main character. But that's the male character of our protagonist. There's also a female protagonist if you play as the female, and I think for a female voiceover, they can have either Forever Nina, Tara Bobcock, Ace Fangirl 1, Black Rose, or even Feedback King. Heck,
he's really good at doing female voices, then maybe he should be called the Feedback Queen, you know what I'm saying?
That's just my perspective, but I am rooting for you, cool boy, though. Now, before this video starts, I want to give a huge thanks to the people who liked my Mario Web Sparks of Hope discussion video. When I uploaded it, we managed to reach about 3,000 views in just a week. That was awesome. You guys really loved that video of my ideas of creativity. And you know what's crazy? A week later, Ubisoft then posted this on their Twitter of the whole season pass for Sparks of Hope, and which it looks amazing. The whole pass is going to be on next year, each with a different set, early, mid, and late. DLC Pass 1, it's a season pass exclusive, the Tower of Doom. You face your doom in a new combat game mode. And this is actually pretty cool because I feel like this is going to be an interesting game mode, like the Ultra Hard challenges in Kingdom Battle. And Spawny returns. If you guys didn't notice, Spawny is in here, so that's cool. There's also something new as well. DLC 2, heroes confront a mysterious foe on a new enchanted planet. And if I were to guess, this is probably either a jungle or a forest world, with this particular rabbit looking similar to the one you see in at the final battle where you see Midnight, Kurtza, and Bedrock, and Daphne, etc. This is probably the one rabbit that wasn't shown, but they showed a bit of the statue. And DLC 3, Rayman, Rabbid Peach, and Rabbid Mario remark on their own adventure. And Rayman looks amazing. Look at that. It's been a long time since we see this guy, since Rayman Legends, but it's going to be an amazing DLC adventure for him. And I just want to give you updates on the aftermath of the video that I made that was super awesome of what I made. Guys, this is Josh, the Thomas fan just in Super Smash Bros. Here. And I am back for another video game discussion because it seems a lot of people, you really loved watching my prediction video, and I'm back with another discussion, and that is the future of HuniePop Content. And this is where I will talk about future ideas, future genres for this franchise to continue, because this game only got 2 games and a game that's not even canon to its franchise, Honey Game Studio, which the devs say. The first thing we want to start off is the issues of the age restrictions of what's going on. And that's basically the game being banned on YouTube and Twitch, where you cannot stream the game or show video playthroughs of it. So it seems odd, and the developer himself even states it about these stupid rules from Twitch and YouTube about not posting the game when he literally censored it up. It's kind of ridiculous to what some particular social medias cannot have that sorts of censorability. But yet again, I feel like in order for this to not have this issue again, I feel like maybe they should maybe turn down the rating a little bit, go from rated M to rated T, so that they won't have to deal with this issue, so that everyone can still enjoy the gameplay. It's just that way you won't have to get this thing banned off all social media platforms or something. I don't know. But it's for our own good, you know? Also, here's a look at Nikki and Audrey from what they would have looked like in HuniePop 2. Because Nikki looks amazing from here. And I feel like from my description, she is now an extrovert. And she still has the gamer abilities. And she works out. As for Audrey, she officially changed her behavior and she now worships Jesus as well, as she's a Christian now.
However, I think the developer did not want to feature any politics or religion or whatever, because that would lead to probably chaos.
Anyways, that's not the point here. The real topic started off where the developer posted this on his Twitter account,
Which stated,
Attention art hosts. We are looking for talented and experienced artists with an interest in hunting to join our team to create whatever you do. If you're good, we'd love to hear from you.
What he's saying is basically he wants to get more artists, more developers to make a huge company so that they can make future content for the game franchise to continue with.
and that featuring like 2D, 3D, animation, doesn't matter which one, if it's cartoon, anime, or even any other sort.
This is where this video is all about, talking about all the different genres of this game franchise to continue on, which I have brilliant ideas for each specific genre of what they could possibly do for the HuniePop franchise. Now, one of the subjects of genres of video games that HuniePop could have is a 2D platformer game, or anything 2D related. They could have like a 2D platform, 2D RPG, 2D anything related. Everyone loves 2D from the very beginning. They could start off very small, like going back in time when it started as 2D everything, and have also like some good music there, and maybe you could share like a small capacity to like
Earthbound or Super Dark Deception, or even like any Tactics, Octopath, and some other ways to have it.
Each could have share like all the worlds of like Glenberry and stuff, and then they could do that. It basically will be single player because of course there's no other way to play the game other than just the player himself, either male or female. So, and yet they will lead to like random missions, cool levels of just, they'll start off 2D and the quality will go better and better as the designs and graphics go increasing. The second subject is, of course, the 3D. This is where HuniePop could get like a 3D game, a 3D platform, a 3D adventure. And seeing it would be similar to like how you see like Yandere Simulator and Gary's mod as well. But this way would be like, it kind of also have like the capacity of VR chat as well. But the thing here is that they're gonna have to get a company that's gonna help them create the 3D models of the girls and your character, male or female, and go on the journey, explore the world of the HuniePop universe of just showing around like everything you see in a 3D environment. Of course, it's going to be single player mode like usual, but the thing here is that it will also go through some fun, interesting levels, random missions to go through, and maybe even some ways how they could even go through, because there could even be like a little bit of enemies, bosses around, but because that's the cool things about a 3D game. Some would even have like special abilities, special powers, and you could even customize your character as well, and even the girls themselves. So that would be another specific way how they could make 3D HuniePop reality. The next subject I want to talk about is the FPS games, the first-person shooter games that everyone enjoys playing. You know, the Halo, Call of Duty, Doom, and Splatoon, etc. But in a form of a HuniePop design, in a way that is similar to like Shinran Conjura's Peach Beach Blash and Splatoon series, except all of the HuniePop girls will have like specific water guns as their weapons, and maybe some other significant ways of how they could do in combat. Except they could show up in different ways, like you could have a 4v4, or a 2v2, or a 1v1. Like the possibilities could be endless, because there are some of those particular FPS games that do have this concept.
Particularly Splatoon, which has the capacity to even do a 4v2v2 battle, hence Splatoon 3's new change of a battle system.
And the fact that they could even have the little battle arenas, the little stages in terms of fighting battles, they could have take place in Inatepuna as the secret island that we know. As you know, they could have little areas like the airport, the hotel lobby, the country yard, the boardwalk, and maybe even some old ones like the university campus, the shopping mall, Donwood Park, even the fitness gym, and Nutmeg Cafe. These seem compatible if it's either like 4v4, 2v2, 1v1. It doesn't matter. Another topic to go over is, of course, RPG games. These RPG games are basically another popular set of video games. And for HuniePop to have an RPG title genre, it would be cool because as the character, either 2D or 3D. You could explore the world of HuniePop again, but in any space, and you could talk to some of the girls as like NPCs, or you could like fight dangerous enemies, similar to how you see like similar enemies, like, you know, like the Mario enemies or Zelda enemies, or any enemies you see like in every RPG game. Similar, it's basically something to actually interest, similar to like most popular RPG titles like
Pokemon, Earthbound, Monster Hunter, Chrono Trigger, Persona 5, Octopath Traveler, and many other iconic RPG titles, which I seem to be interesting to what HuniePop could do as an RPG game.
They could even showcase mid-bosses or mini-bosses throughout the adventure of an RPG title, because, you know, bosses are fun, and you gotta have...
To get the difficulty to grow a little bigger, you gotta start off small, and then you'll grow bigger when you get to, like, a small mini-boss before you fight the bigger boss.
And speaking of bosses, they could add like special bosses to this HuniePop RPG game, which could make it very hard difficulty, and you may have to use your weapons in combat. Now, with HuniePop 2's The Nymphogen, they could have the Nymphogen as like a final boss where you actually fight them in space, because as they were, you're basically meant to destroy them in the sequel. However, in an RPG title, they would actually suit the role as a true villain character. But this is where they have a role to actually obtain their dominance. And this is where I think would be suitable as an RPG title. Ladies and gentlemen, now we get into the next other subject I have, and that's a HuniePop fighting game. And I know the 50% of the viewers are probably going to say,
oh, isn't Dead or Alive a HuniePop fighting game?
No.
No, it is not. The characters are very different, their voice actors are very different, their personalities are very different. You cannot say they are alike or anything compatible. This is truly something I was thinking of. Like, I know there's like already iconic ones like Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Tekken, King of Fighters, DOA, Blood Roar, Soul Calibur, Ultra Instinct, and others, or even a platform fighter one day, maybe. It could be either one of them, because I know there's like some locations that could be used as like stages around that for platform fighters. They could have stage hazards, or if it's just a plain singular area, they could just rotate from the horizontal distance. And this could go for the gift shop, the marina, Surf Shack, and the plaza, and maybe some old ones from the first one, being Turtle Bay Beach, Bars and Lounge, Lusty's Nightclub. And also, despite the HuniePop girls have so many outfits and hairstyles, they could be customizable as like custom characters with custom fighters. And their roster could have a consistency of like around like 10 or 20 characters, both from the first and the sequel, not counting the Camp Studio, because the Camp Studio is considered not canon. So therefore, the characters from both the first and the sequel, including beta characters who were in the making of the series, and also having it very similar and very likeness to the ones you see in like Street Fighter 6 with their custom characters, Mortal Kombat 11, and even some of the 3D ones like Virtual Fighter, Tekken, Soul Calibur, and DOA. And as for like casual stuff, in terms of platform fighting, they could use some of the date gifts or even special gifts as items for what I would say to be a really good tool if it was a platform fighting game. Or if it was traditional fighting game, then they would just have customizable command inputs. On to the next subject, and that's a HuniePop racing game. Because I know we all have our love for racing. Because, you know, Crash Racing, Sonic Racing, Madagascar Karts, Nickelodeon Kart Racers, and Cars, and even Mario Kart. But, however, there is one kart track that actually stood out to me as like a mod design from what I would say, hence to the creator of Mad Duck 1009, who created this particular racetrack for a Mario Kart mod, which seems suitable for a HuniePop racing game one day, and that's the world of Ina de Puno, because the area right here, the peach-shaped island, has, of course, the island and has like that Delfino square / plaza, and over here you see like the volcano from DK Mountain, and of course it ends it off with the Rainbow Road track, which seems cool, which he has created pretty well. And he also made this design too, which of course being of what HuniePop girls would look like, and their own cart. And despite of the compatibility, each girl could have like an individual cart of their own with customizations, you know, Lola could have like an airplane or fashion car, or Candace having like a toddler's motor vehicle, Jessie having a cougar car, Nora having like some sort of baby vehicle or some family van, Brooke having one of the suggestive cars that you ask in the question, Lillian having some sort of Halloween car, or Zoe having like some sort of crystal car, Ashley with a rock and roll car, Sarah Stevens with, of course, an anime car, which, of course, to reference an anime, Polly, who could have a car from each different one, like the 90s, 80s, 70s, etc. Abia, referencing her home countries of transportation of vehicles as well. That's what I'm thinking of. And there could be like a lot of items similar to how you see like banana peels or mushroom shells in Mario Kart somehow. They would even be racetracks, not only state locations and other locations to what I said earlier, stuff like the Bontico Gardens, the hiking trail, the farmer's market, the water park, ice rink, and a sports area, a sports racetrack, which not only just the tennis court, but also a basketball court, a soccer field, a baseball field, etc., etc. Along with the scenic overlook, which would look good as a racetrack, hot springs, Gold Falls Casino, but this is where they could race on some of the areas that you play on the casino, like a slot machine, or the card areas, or even the dice rolls and stuff. There's Corkscrew Carnival, which you can explore the world of Corkscrew Carnival in a racetrack design. Vinny's Restaurant, where you could see the inside and the outside of the place. And the outdoor lounge, which could be pretty soothing, and the moon could be up at that stage. And of course, the bedroom, the player's bedroom, which could act very similar to the Mario Kart Super Circuit of Ribbon Road. Which this would be cool because you could have like a little bit of an obstacle course in the player's bedroom and having like sets and a lot of toy areas and all that. It would just be very creative. The next category I want to talk about is a party game for HuniePop called Honey Party. Basically, you could think of it as like Sonic Shuffle, Pac-Man Fever or Pac-Man Party, Crash Bash, and even Shenron and Conjura, in which all of these following games particularly have a competition to go against Mario Party, the major, most popular party game of all time. This will have a total of 69 minigames, and the characters, all the HuniePop girls, will have an individual board from any specific either meetup location or date location as a funny board, each with like special spaces and special currencies to go with it. Stuff like the aquarium, the cabanas, the cruise ship, the golf course, the grottos, the volcano, even outer space.
Now, even though Mario Party already has like Spaceland in Mario Party 2, and Honey Party, we could call this like, I guess, Space World.
And of course, now each girl could even have the ability of purchasing items from around their set from what they did from the first HuniePop game and the upcoming sequel as well, in which, of course, the tokens could be a reference to like their currency as a form of currency, or there's also honey points as well, and maybe even cash for other things. And of course, in order to win the games, you have to like collect fairy wings, the same thing how you collect stars in Mario Party. So it will be the same similarity. And in order to get those fairy wings, you have to use some of the tokens or honey points in order to get them in order to win the game, which is something that I see the catch getting to. And of course, the roster would be pretty decent, like a number of just 10 to 20 characters. The next thing I want to talk about is the HuniePop on mobile devices and other compatibilities. And that being having all of the games, the first, the sequel, and the Honeycomb Studio on mobile devices, phone and iPad. Because when you think of it, this is what Candy Crush would look like on a phone. And then this is what Candy Crush would look like on a tablet. Now, just picture HuniePop on your phone, because
this basically would make it easier for phone players could just easily just throw their fingers like in any direction, and then it basically makes the game pretty much easy as a demonstration.
And for iPad, it basically gives them much more potential. And of course, the game is going to be widescreen. And of course, you can't to mention, it also has to come to Nintendo Switch as well, because particularly the first and the sequel, because remember in Plants vs. Zombies when it was on in game consoles, you had to play a controller to select your plants and position what plants you want to put in. So they could share the same capacity to what they could do in the HuniePop for creating consoles like the Switch. And in fact, even the creator himself would even love to do this, even if he had to censor it even a lot. Even though Necopara is already on Switch and PlayStation and some other stuff, or they may not be partnered with this concept. But it seems cool. I mean, look at Dark Deception when they're going to be releasing their game by next year for PlayStation and Switch and all that. And this is something the capacity. However, in order for the mobile devices of HuniePop to appear, they have to make like the price to make sure it is like either like free or a 99 cents or a 1.99 or 2.99. This is the only limited it will go to. No one's gonna pay so much money for just one mobile game of the HuniePop title. That's how you want to get your audience to pay this game with the money that they bought on the internet, and that they will receive good ratings from it. The next category I want to go over is, of course, a HuniePop live action show or movie. Honestly, both. I could go for both, but it doesn't matter. Remember the HuniePop, the musical by the Random Encounters? Well, what if there was actually an official HuniePop show, particularly live action, or a live action movie, which of course like having like maybe a sequel for a movie series, but for shows like an extra season or someone. So we could expand the world of HuniePop on each character's personality, each girl's story. It doesn't matter. As long as they're willing to do the cosplay on that, depending on the actresses, they could still do a good job on them. To even the company who could even create this iconic show and movie series, it depends. The possibilities are endless. One could could have Sony work on it, either by Sony Pictures Television and Sony Pictures, and maybe the animation for the upcoming maybe animated movie or animated show, but
That's on the next topic after this.
maybe the other one could be owned by Paramount, maybe even Disney, and maybe Warner Bros. Discovery.
As long as any of these following consistent movie companies are possible to make this movie happen, or show, whatever.
And starting off with the cast, we're gonna have Jacqueline Amy as Q.
As a reminder that some of the actors that I will put for them for the live action show or movie will still have a little bit of its game canon. Not everything has to be Hollywood, because we know that Tails as a voice actor is in Sonic 2, and Charles Martinet is in the Mario movie, and so on, etc., etc. You get the point.
For Tiffany May, she'll have like two separate voice actresses. One of the actresses could play the show, and the other for the movie. One of them being Ashley Hinshaw, and the other being Britt Robertson. For the Japanese substitute teacher Aiko Yumi, she will be played by Lucy Liu.
Some of the actresses will also be voice acting
In the animation of their show or movie. The baby mama Kiana, who will be played either for the show and movie, being Selma Hayek and Penelope Lopez. Now for this one, I want to talk I got two specific ones for these, and I want to ask some people in the comment section, what do you think would be a good actor for Audrey? For me, I just choose Juliette Bonche and Eva Green.
I don't think it's possible, because they're past the age, so I don't know if they could still do a good impression, but it's just my personal way of the cast, so just let me know.
For the Australian introvert gamer girl Nikki Ann Murray, she will be played by 74 Rays, aka Sophie, member of the Underdogs, as you may have noticed. So the flight attendant Lola Membright, she will be played Zendaya for the show or movie, and China Ann McClan for the show or movie. The 36-year-old mother of Tiffany May, of course, Jessie May, will be played by Tara Babcock. Since I feel like this seems perfectly connected, since there was one picture on social media that matched exactly the same, and
she did a playthrough on the whole HuniePop series, but not the sequel yet, which is odd, so let's put that aside.
Belly Laprin will be played by Priyanka Chopra Jonas, which I could see an interesting possibility for this one, as in terms of the role for the show or movie.
I don't have another one for the show or movie, so bear with me.
And the rest, I could tell you, will go into context, because extra characters, secret characters throughout the show and movie, as like like little cameos. Maybe they could each have like part of the show, and I could see them possibly having cosplays of those particular HuniePop girls. For Lillian, she will have two other separate ones, one for the show, one for the movie. One could be for Billie Eilish, the other being Olivia Rodrigo. Zoe, aka who was originally Denise, will be played by Kiki Palmer.
I hope that Zoe gets a really absolute change instead of just being a significant robotic voice or something. I don't know. It just doesn't seem right for Zoe. So, Kiki Palmer would change that up.
Sarah Suki Stevens will have two separate actresses. One of them being Ariana Grande, and the other being Trisha Paytas. Each of them could like have one for the show and one for the movie.
She will start off skinny for Sarah, and then as time goes by, she will tend to get fat as it continues, you know, as I pictured.
The sweet, innocent Leilani will be played by Taylor Grubbs. The Southern girl Candace will be played by Elizabeth Gillies. Despite Elizabeth Gillies once had that interesting country accent in Victorious, which was perfect, and I honestly think it would be good to have that in a show or movie for that attempt of the role. So it would be interesting to see from. Kiana's cousin Nora will be played by Sofia Vergara, and I think this probably goes so well.
The other individual I could have added was Selena Gomez because of the design, but that honestly could also work for the show. This one could work for the movie, so it would tend to work. So
the billionaire aunt of Audrey Belrose, Brooke Belrose, will be played by Dolly Parton.
She may have a singing role in the movie, and maybe something in the show. And in terms of the show, they could add Kris Jenner playing the role as Brooke Belrose. So
this actress doesn't need any context whatsoever. Sheila playing Ashley, because this particular way of her cosplaying as the character suits it so well. It's perfectly connected, and it's already canon. It doesn't need anything else. It's just perfect, you know? Hello, this is Future Editing Josh here, and I just wanted to get to the point where this is part of the video where I was starting to lose some words, and I forgot what I was going to say in this one. But to put it into context, I was going to have Abia be voiced by Mia Khalifa, and that's pretty much it. And I have another community post that's going to be in by the next of the video. And I mean, who would you want two individual actresses to play for both the show and the movie? You have Emma Stone, Ali McCulka, Evan Rachel Wood, or even Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
There will be a community post for that one of who would play Polly for both the show and the movie.
Now this is where we get into the next topic, a HuniePop animated show and movie.
this is where it's going to have the animation design, where it's mostly going to focus on each girl's story on a specific episode, and maybe even the players' episodes as well. But even maybe exploring the environments of their hometowns, and maybe even at the Puna as well, who knows. And maybe just getting to know them more of their backstory, more of their personality, etc., etc.
There's two different ways, two different designs it can go. It can go with the nice, interesting, regular, goofy cartoon, like most cartoons, like the ones you see in Nickelodeon, Disney, and Cartoon Network, or with the one with the more anime style, similar like how you see like Teen Titans and the Bonducks, for example. Each could share a different genre, maybe it depending on its category, but it would just be interesting to see a cool cartoon for animation and a movie of it as well. And who knows, it could maybe also have a second season on the show and maybe a sequel on a movie as well, but who knows. And yet I will also be going over the voice actresses next, and in terms of it, some of the voice actresses will probably have one who could play both the show and the movie, while some of the others will have two voice actresses, one for the show and one for the movie. Or some that will even stay significantly canon to the games. Starting off with Tiffany, we have Kristen Bell for the show and Anna Kendrick for the movie. And I would really like to actually see a really interesting, cheerful personality for these two following actresses right here. Lucy Liu will still play the role as Aiko, but in animation now. For Kiana, she will have two separate ones. First one for the show will have Liliana Mummy for the show, And for the movie, she'll be voiced by Kristen Wiig. And as I could see, a very happy, energetic personality for Kiana. Then for Audrey, for the show, she'll be voiced by Catherine Tabor. And for the movie, she'll be voiced by Selena Gomez. I would really like to hear a funny, bratty personality, a rude remark of this character. Now for Lola member, I decided Sasha Grey for the show and Emma Stone for the movie.
Despite Sasha Grey is a retired star, but she could still be a movie star in terms of being a voice actress and stuff. So it would still have a good role for Lola.
For Nikki and Marie, she'll be voiced by Mila Kunis for the show and Demi Lovato for the movie.
As we will have that nice, shy, gamer girl personality of Nikki. Can't wait to hear from them, maybe, in the future.
Tara Bachcock will still be the role as Jessie still. Same for Priyanka Chopra Jonas as Belly as well.
And for the rest, as the secret girls,
Tara Strong will play the role as Q Sugardust. Gray DeGlissel will play the role as Momo. Jennifer Paz will play the role as Celeste. And Brandy Pop will even play the role as Venus.
as all of those 4 actresses will play for both the show and the movie. But for Brandy Coop, she'll have to change a bit of that Palatino verse impression into a more fancy, superior voice.
Renee will be voiced by Tiffany Haddish for both the show and the movie. Aquafina will play the role as Marlena for the show and the movie. The Russian goddess Nadia will be played by Carolina Ravassa for both the show and the movie. Lillian will be voiced by Olivia Olson, and Nicole Sullivan for show and movie. Zoe, aka Denise, will be played by Wanda Skis. For Sarah, Suki Stevens will be played by Jessica DeKisco for the show, and Emma Roberts for the movie. Leilani will be placed by Christina Pukeli for the show, and Kelly Clarkson for the movie. I could expect a little bit of shy and excitingness from Leilani. Caroline Lawrence will play the role as Candace, despite the southern accent from Sandy Cheeks, and Cindy from Jimmy Neutron will still have an awesome impact for Candace. Elena Ubach will play the role as Nora Del Rio for the show, and Jenny Lorenzo, famous YouTuber by the way, will play the role as Nora for the movie, as I could experience a nice Cuban Hispanic accent for Nora. For the fancy Brooke Belrose, she'll be played by Kathleen Turner for the show, and Kim Kardashian for the movie. Sheila will still play the role as Ashley for both the show and the movie, even the anime and the inappropriate anime as well. But Hayden Watch will play the role as Abia.
And yes, Elise Lovelock will probably be removed from the role, but who knows? She might even play in the movie too.
Marisa Lenti as Polly will still be playing the role as the character for both the show and the movie, just so it could still it doesn't have to all be Hollywood like usual. And of course, Laura Jill Miller will play the role as one of the Nymphogins, Moxie, for both the show and the movie. But for June, she'll be played by 2 separate actors, Nika Fuderman for the show and Cree Summer for the movie. And the final category I want to go over is the anime of HuniePop, which I would like to see, in terms of having both a show and a movie in terms of the anime, and even maybe having an appropriate anime as well, in terms maybe having a second season as well, because it seems accurate. And of course, there could also be a manga one day, and now which we already know that.
I already know that Silverwood is already doing so well with making these HuniePop mangas, which they already look a masterpiece as well. I give credit to that.
As for the actual anime themselves, they could be developed by any of these following companies who can make it, and they could either do it in different ways. They could do it in a more action design for Chads, they could do it in the design of Dragon Ball Z, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Yu-Gi-Oh, Naruto, Hunter x Hunter, Demon Slayer, Bleach, My Hero Academy, One Piece, etc., etc. Or a more passive way like any of these following, and the way it could showcase it, it could have all of the girls and maybe even the player showcasing the world of it. And
now the way for this anime to work this time is that they would have the English first and the Japanese second, so that it would be balanced and that it's all fair. Because most of the animes were created in Japan and some in America, but they were all Japanese first. And in terms of having the English dub second, this will be the legitimate opposite, where the English goes first and then the Japanese goes second, so that it's fair and balanced and that everyone is happy.
So that's what I'm thinking in terms of the anime. As for the opposite side of the anime,
They could have our player be like these following protagonists in terms of the gender you pick, either male or female design. And each could like have a story of having a connection with each of the individual girls, from Tiffany to Venus, or from, of course, like Zoe and Lillian and Polly, etc., etc. It goes a long way, as long as it's showing some plot and some good moments and just showcasing lore, flashbacks, and everything, depending on a topic they could put into these following.
and the ones who can make it, either long episodes for like 30 minutes or short ones for like less than 30 minutes, they could maybe even make a movie, and they could be created either by Pink Pineapple, Bunny Walker, Queen Bee, MS Pictures, Poro, Mary Jane, Collaboration Works, T-Rex, and maybe Break Bottle, Edge, and even some other Gold Bear, Loon Pictures, Blue Cat, and Five Ways as a consistent following. And that's it. Thank you guys so much for the little bit of the speculations and predictions of what I'm thinking for the future of this game series. As for the series of the rest of the year of the show of the channel is, I will still make that 2023 video. Now that it's out, I do want to really talk about this one, because there are some things that I do want to say that are good and bad about it. And of course, as I will even make a return of the Mario Kart video discussion, because with Wave 3 out, there's going to be like 3 waves left. And I want to talk about my last 24 racetrack ideas of what can make it into the next wave to complete the pass. And of course, as for the rest of the year, it would just mostly be Thomas themes, particularly Vernius, TC Nick 3, VeggieTales, some of the Illumination series like Secret Life of Pets, Minions, Despicable Me, Sing, Ice Age, Poppy's Playtime, Dark Deception, Yandere Simulator, any DreamWorks movie, Madagascar, Shrek, Kung Fu Panda, How to Train Your Dragon, and the Lego movie, Cut the Rope, and maybe even some HoloLive VTubers as well. Who knows what, if you're interested on that type of the content. But you have to make sure you're subscribed for this, because according to here, it says that about 10.3 of you are still subscribed to the channel, but 89.7 of you aren't. So if you really want to see these things come to life, make sure you're subscribing so that it could be possible for me to make this sort of content at the end of the year. And also to reach like 2K by the end of the year. Who knows? As long as you're watching my content and subscribing. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. See you later.